Welcome to Relish Lifestyle. It's been a interesting week. We've had a lot going on, haven't we? Someone's had a birthday.
Oh, no.
Hence why there's a slight delay to the release of this podcast.
I'm trying to forget them. You come to a certain age and you try to forget them rather than,
We've been celebrating.
But
you've been doing lots of different things.
I know. I've been very lucky. Very, very lucky. And actually, it's great. I've realised having a midweek birthday.
Yeah.
Because I've had nice things either side. So obviously we're going to do some more today. And during the week. But also, either side, the weekends, either side. So,
but you had quite a yummy dinner.
So on the food side, I was very lucky indeed to have a treat to go. Actually, it was to the National Theatre on the South Bank, and I went to see the amazing play Nye. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But prior to that, ate at Lasden, which is one of the restaurants there, top restaurant, and had a really, really delicious meal.
What did you have?
Well, actually, I had to start with, it was burnt leeks with sheep's yogurt and a hazelnut dressing.
Yum.
It was can I just say, I want to caveat this, it was ridiculously hot in London, okay? So it wasn't the sort of, it was a time of year when you're like, oh my God, what do I want to eat? You want something light, you're hungry, but not too heavy and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's funny, isn't it? When it's hot, I don't want to eat loads and loads. It's like when you're on holiday and you eat later because you can't eat in the heat.
I know, but I have to say, the menu, it's not huge, but it really has some great things on it. So I had that and they were lovely. They were like poached leeks that I think have then been seared. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Torched slightly.
Nice.
And the hazelnut dressing, it was really light and delicious. And and the sheep's yogurt sort of slightly whipped. And then actually I just followed it by like a gnocchi, little potato dumpling. And it had braised broad beans and it had Spenwood cheese, which had been sort of, it wasn't a sauce, it was slightly melted.
What sort
but
of
nice.
Cheese is it?
It's a sheep's cheese and it's hard. Yes, it's a hard cheese. It's actually made in this country, in Berkshire. And it's been created by a couple called Anne and Annie Wigmore.
Nice.
Andy Wigmore. And they got inspired. It's kind of like manchego, pecorino,
maybe
on that sort of thing. So it's nutty and sweet
as well.
Yeah, and it was lovely. It was sort of melted. It was very soft.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just enough. It was really delicious.
Sounds great.
So I have to say, and but I think all the things on the menu were delicious. And I just wanted to give a big shout out because
divine.
Yeah. And two guys set up Lasden, and it's Tom Harris and John Rotherham.
Lovely.
Yeah, so that was a big treat for me. And then we've been doing other things, haven't we?
I've been doing a bit of baking, obviously, around a birthday.
Yes, of
Normally
course.
Wheel it out.
So I have to say they were absolutely delicious.
So I did. It was actually the mini bunt mould that you kindly bought me as a gift. Which I've now used quite a lot. But this was an adaptation of a savarin bake, but I did mini ones and I soaked them in a marmalade and whiskey syrup. And I did a stack of them. sort of like a mini croquant bouche of savarins.
They were absolutely delicious. And what I loved about them, Charlie, is they were so light. The colour of them. I felt like if you have the best ever donut, like a rum barber, which is a light, not greasy.
Yeah.
But this bake felt so light and spongy when you bit into it. But you'd made that amazing syrup and it wasn't overly whiskey. I want to add that it wasn't. But it gave it that
slightly earthy.
Yeah, but crisp. But it almost made the bake at the bottom a little bit crisp, and then you cut into it. I think there was absolutely I inspired. I have to say.
I think it's one of those things where when you're doing, there's a lot of you, and that's fine doing something cake, or even more. But this, I just thought actually, it's quite a nice way of doing like, a stack of them looks quite nice with the candles. I don't know if I did put a picture on Instagram. You should look at that. I should do that.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously then you just have one of those each. You don't, or two, or whatever, how many you want. But you don't need some big sort of cutting cake thing.
No, and
so
also...
I just wanted to do something a bit different.
Yeah, and
visually.
also, like, you and I, we don't like cake with lots of creamy filling.
No.
I'm not a butter icing or, royal icing fan particularly.
I don't.
So having those, because also I feel like, and we all only have one each, but you can wrap them and keep them. And also, even if you've had those for a few days, you could use those something else. You could.
Well, I have to be honest, I had
trifle.
I had one for breakfast with a coffee.
That's inspired.
Because to me, it goes back to that, like when we've been abroad,
a bit like a brioche enriched.
Yeah.
Like,
obviously, savarin being French anyway, but it's that kind of, when you go to Portugal, they have the pasta de nata and their little espresso coffee.
Yes.
For their breakfast.
Yeah.
They don't, so, and obviously the French, we know what they have for breakfast, croissants and pain au chocolat and things like that. And obviously, even in Greece, it's more kind of that syrupy dip.
Yeah,
bread. So I just thought it was quite nice with a coffee and a
bit of
a naughty breakfast, but it was absolutely delicious.
No, but they were inspired, so I was very spoiled. Yeah.
I know. Well, you're very welcome. But we are doing more cooking today, which sort of brings us on to our next sort of possible topic, which is today we're sort of being a bit more fish orientated.
Yeah, we haven't got a lot of fish, but we thought we'd also wanted to just talk about fish, didn't we?
Well, we haven't really.
Well, there's two reasons I kind of thought it'd be quite nice to chat about it. I went to see that amazing David Attenborough sort of film that he did with, I think it was Paramount and Disney, but it's gone on local distribution. Yeah, or national distribution, I should say. Ocean. And it really is incredibly hard hitting. And to be honest, you come away thinking, I don't want to eat any more fish.
No.
Because it's all about deep sea bottom dredging.
Trawlers.
And they are they're even in the Antarctic now, Charlie.
Oh.
And they are enormous. And they go in and they have these huge claws that just go into the bed of the ocean. And then they drag it into the bed of the ocean and they drag it. So they're not just taking fish. They are breaking up everything, coral, seaweeds, lichens, even the small things like little plankton, anything that's in its way. So, and they're doing this.
Bigger things, I guess.
Well, yeah, but it's the big things we worried about with the big nets. But this is beyond that. This is like wrecking. And of course,
it's like a Hoover.
In the film, it gives you they have now all this amazing information and the science behind how actually the ocean provides us with more oxygen, i.e. turning carbon dioxide into oxygen, than even the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah. Well, isn't it sea kelp?
Yeah, there's
Someone
kelp.
said to me, there's a kelp. I can't remember what it is, but I think it was in one of his other ones. But where there's like obviously like a kelp forest, they call them.
Yeah, they do.
Enormous.
They are enormous.
But apparently they absorb more efficiently CO2.
Yeah.
Than a tree. So they're much more underused. We don't appreciate, or let's save the kelp forest. Everyone's worried about an ancient oak, which is important as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But to think this kelp forest absorbs more CO2 than...
I know, but also all the corals and all things. But do you know, one of the other things that really freaked me out was that plankton, which we can hardly see, right, okay? But whales and a lot of the bigger fish actually live off, okay? And it keeps them, and a lot of birds and penguins in certain parts of the world.
Yeah.
That's what they survive on. They are now actually taking plankton, get this, out of the sea, and they're using it for cat and dog food. And how awful is that?
Awful.
And they're doing this by millions and millions of tons a week. And what he's saying is that's what will kill the planet quicker than anything else. But they have a project that if we could save 30%, if we could stop 30% of the fishing like this, because this is the way fishing is going, then we could amazingly save the planet. But if we don't do that, we are on a faster route to ruining the planet big time and ourselves, because we won't be able to survive. Anyway, I get a bit passionate after seeing it.
Yeah.
But
no, I get that. I understand that.
so that kind of, but on a nice side, we wanted to talk a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
About, our type of fishing when we had things like the beach hut.
I think also just to caveat that, obviously there are ways and means to still enjoy fish, but I suppose it's like one of those things where it's a bit like sort of beef or cattle, and how many, because we're parts of America that's just all they do is farm huge amounts of cattle for McDonald's, which is destroying the countryside and everything, etc. So I guess it's all those things. I guess it is that it's an awful phrase and a cliche, but everything in moderation. So I think if we as a race, if we moderated our meat, fish, and everything,
I guess that's what they were saying about this 30-30 project.
Well, someone told me that
because you could still eat fish.
Shipping an avocado from wherever they're grown to here and whatever emits more CO2 than a car in a year.
Is it South America?
But that journey emits more CO2 than a car in a year.
Yeah, it's terrible.
For an avocado.
We just haven't got it right, have we?
No, but
the thing is, we do love fish and we all want to still enjoy it. So we just need to think about it. And I think sometimes we shouldn't be afraid. And that's, I guess, what this film is doing. Not being afraid to actually tell the truth.
No, but we were lucky to obviously be able to fish off the Isle of Wight without having to dredge the bottoms of things. Yeah. But I remember some wonderful memories down there in terms of that sort of barbecue griddle we had. Heath Robinson barbecue.
I know.
And it was just a metal grill over the coals.
It was.
And then, we used to throw sort of mackerel on there.
Yeah, so you just go out spinning in an old boat for mackerel. A little bit of sea bass. We always took our measure with us. You can measure the right size.
No, we were...
Same with the odd lobster we used to get, but you measure them. So that's, it was really strict.
Yeah. Well, we were strict.
And I think this is how we need to be. But of course, these dredgers don't care what they're dredging.
No. But we did have some lovely memories. And I do remember sort of having literally mackerel that's been out the sea.
I know, straight on.
It was
straight
delicious.
on a barbecue.
It's such a lovely fit.
I know. And then, of course, we are salmon fishing in Scotland, which Charlie, I was devastated when you walked into the river and did about 3 casts and caught a rather nice salmon.
More than 3.
Not many
hours of fishing.
You didn't. You went in and got one.
No, I think it was, we'd had like a morning of fishing and it had been sort of slightly unsuccessful, and then back in the river after lunch. And then I managed to catch one quite quickly and we kept it. Obviously there's quotas again. It's obviously very
sensitive. No, they're very strict,
But amazingly, we had that smoked for Christmas.
Yeah.
Which was delicious.
I have to remember, I think that particular weekend, you'd all come up. So obviously we were friends and their children came up as well. And there were 3 of you. And I think 2 of you walked into the river and actually, it might not have been straight away, but pretty short time you'd all caught fish, which was a bit galling for those of us who'd been up there for a few days. But
it's obviously my technique. My fly that I chose was a good one.
But, fishing like that, because you can fish for days and days and not catch anything. Yeah. And of course, as you say, it's all restricted, so you can only keep certain ones. But
at the moment, it's obviously water levels, which is obviously an issue across everywhere. But anyway, but yeah.
So, and what about any restaurants you've been to? Have you had any fishy favourite menus, if you like?
I mean...
or dishes?
Well, I know it's a sort of, again, a bit of a stuck record, but... When I was in Porto with my best friend, we went to Gruta, a restaurant in Porto, and they specialise in the red cabaneros, sort of. I don't know. It's kind of like a halfway house doing a prawn and a lobster, is the only way I can describe it. And they're bright
quite large,
red. Yeah. I think they're red raw, so they don't change colour. Not like a lobster's blue, and they go. And it was probably the best seafood meal I'd ever had. It was absolutely divine. And it is definitely worth looking at. It's a lovely it's very small restaurant just off sort of one of the main roads, but you go down this sort of alleyway into it, but it's really delicious. And we had oysters to start, and then I had the cabaneros, which was delish. What about you?
I've got some restaurant favourites. I'm going to say probably grilled lobster.
Okay.
Again in Scotland.
Yum.
But a great friend has always recommended you just put a little bit of butter and you grill them. And I have to say, you don't lose, because I think with lobster, it is such a delicate meat.
Yeah.
And it can be overboiled,
Yeah, I'd say I don't like boiled lobster.
No, but if you grill it like that,
Yeah.
it is so delicious and sweet and gorgeous.
If we rewind to a couple of birthdays ago.
Yes, we did.
I did a barbecue lobster and it rained and the wind was... Anyway, that was fun. Trying to cook under umbrellas.
Absolutely.
You'd think the 23rd of July would be a nice sunny day, but it wasn't.
So it's not so much going to a restaurant, but having, that.
No, sorry.
You.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I said meal, but I like, again, the memory of having that beautifully fresh mackerel, just as it was.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
So, that's, I would say those are my kind of things. But
and even some of the fish that you wouldn't think of, I just like to say this, we sometimes used to catch mullet, and people would generally, they go, oh, I don't know if I'd buy that if you saw that in a fishmonger's. But when that's come straight out of the sea, and put on a barbecue and eaten fresh, everyone loves it.
They eat a lot of mullet in sort of Mediterranean countries.
Yeah, that's red mullet, isn't it?
Yeah. But
it's grey mullet.
It's very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But so in terms of what herbs you would have with fish, are there any that sort of stick out for you?
Well, I suppose does that bring us, because we kept saying we'd do a herb focus.
Yeah. Was it tarragon last time?
Yeah, it was tarragon last time. So we thought dill.
Perfect.
Because obviously that goes with fish. But did you know also that goes with, it's really good with chicken and it's really good with eggs.
Yeah, I like it with chicken.
Yeah. And actually, having done a bit of research, should I give you some of my facts?
Yeah, factoid.
Okay, so apparently dill was used by the Egyptians, and we are talking about, 1,400 years BC. So it was found in a tomb.
Wow.
A pharaoh's tomb.
So that he was buried with the herb.
Yeah, buried with the herb. Because also it's been used, like a lot of herbs, I have to say.
Do you think the hieroglyphic of dill is literally dill? Like a throng of dill?
I don't know. When you Google it, actually, it's all sorts of... Because it's used a lot in Asia as well.
Yeah.
Right, okay. But I think we probably best know it in gravlax.
Yeah.
So which
Scandinavian.
Yeah, when they marinate.
Do you know what is nice though with gravlax?
Salmon.
And I do really love gravlax. Is that the dill cuts through again that fattiness? Like we were saying, tarragon with the béarnaise cuts through the butteriness. I think it's the same with the dill.
Well, I think that's what herbs do. They add flavour, but they also cut through if it's fatty.
But dill is sort of slightly aniseedy tangy.
Yes.
And I think that's why I like it.
So it is of like the fennel, parsley family.
Yeah.
So it's much more subtle, which is quite good. But also in Greece, it was actually associated with vitality and good fortune.
Ooh,
but in Rome...
You should have some more.
In Rome, it was used to aid digestion, promote sleep, ward off evil spirits.
Is dill the same genus plant as chamomile?
No.
No, it's not that.
No.
Oh, no, I just wanted the sleep thing.
No, it's more, as I said, fennel and actually parsley.
Oh, and celery.
Yes, well, of course, you get the fronds on the celery. So that's all of that sort of stuff. So, and of course, we also, you'll find it in like pickles. Yeah. They add it to gherkins and stuff like that. But the one thing for me was when I was looking at the research is, and I've cooked with it by doing Indian recipes, but dill is used a lot in not just Asian food, but in Indian cuisine. And across Europe, actually, Northern Europe, and soups like borscht.
Yeah.
And also in Scandinavian countries, a lot of them, they sprinkle it on potatoes. So where we might use mint, they might use...
Yeah, I have to say, I've had borscht cooked for me recently, and the lovely sort of beetrooty soup as it is, but a tiny bit. I'm not a massive fan of cream, as we know, like huge amounts.
No,
but a tiny bit of like sour cream, which is what they have.
Yeah,
and then the dill on it really works. Honestly, as a combo.
Yeah,
it's a really good soup.
Well, I think in a lot of those Scandinavian countries, that's what they do when they make that like a yogurt dip or something, or a sour cream dip, as you say. They'll add dill.
Again, I think it cuts through that richness. Anyway.
So that's quite interesting.
That is interesting.
So I was going to say that I just want to say about a recipe that I've used, and I know you're going to talk about a recipe that we've used dill in. So for me, was doing a dishu, so I'm going to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
They call it their Ruby Murray, but it's like their butter chicken.
Oh, it's yummy.
It is absolutely delicious.
You've done that.
Yeah, I've done it quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's good though.
But it's really interesting. At the end, you put in fresh dill, and you also put in dried fenugreek leaves.
Oh, okay.
And I think fenugreek leaves is not something we use a lot of.
No.
You use the seed.
Why do I think fenugreek's sort of quite medieval?
I don't know.
It's quite an old-fashioned...
Well, it probably is. I think a lot of these herbs are.
Like marjoram.
Yeah, marjoram, which is like oregano.
But who uses that now?
Well, we do. It's oregano.
I know, but we don't...
We do use it. We just don't...
Well,
we call it that. Yeah, here, but... Yeah.
So I'm actually using dill today. So we're doing...
Go on then.
Well, we're doing prawn and dill fritters for like a nibble. So don't eat too many. And then...
We're having anchovies, are we? Having anchovies.
Then some anchovies, which I've got, which are in like a lemon kind of salt marinade.
Yeah.
Look at the word then. And then I'm doing a little bit of lamb, which is marinating in my homemade coriander and mint kind of chimichurri style.
Because we're having like a little tapas-y.
So we're doing tapas rather than our usual roast. We did a roast last weekend, so I thought we'd let it shake it up a bit.
Yeah.
And we've got, you're going to do a nice pear salad with walnuts.
Oh, yeah, and chicory.
Chicory.
I love chicory.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of... And you don't need a lot, do you?
No, but it's a lovely flavour.
Yeah, I know. I'll put a bit of feta on.
But yeah, so we're going to cook it up a storm. So we will get some photos and bits and bobs. But yeah, we're doing sort of tapas because the Lionesses are in the final as well. So I know it's your birthday sort of bit.
I know, but we have to support the Lionesses.
We also said, and this is live. So we are 20 to 5, and I think kickoff's at 5. we are cutting it quite fine. But actually, funny enough, because quickly going back to, because obviously our other regular slot we're talking about is our guilty pleasure.
Oh yeah, so what's your guilty pleasure this week?
Well, it was bringing it back to fish.
Fish, yeah.
So my other guilty pleasure, well, it's not really a guilty pleasure, but I think it was obviously completely overdone in the 70s and into probably the 80s. And then I'd like to think I've single-handedly brought it back, but it's a prawn cocktail.
Oh yeah, but a good prawn cocktail.
But I don't want it adulterated with avocado or tomato and all this sort of guff.
No.
I want crispy cos lettuce.
Good chunks of good prawns.
Good prawns, a nice sauce, but the important thing is the crunchy apple. And for me, again, the apple acts as the richness cut through. So it's a very rich sauce.
Yeah.
And then you have this, and then you have a sprinkle of your cayenne pepper on the top. And I know it's kitsch and it is very 70s, but I think a really good one, well done, it's a good starter.
Yeah, but what about in the 70s? It was egg mayonnaise.
Oh, mate, I don't...
No, but the thing was, Troy...
egg and mayonnaise.
No. But the thing is, you had egg, but you had, again, crispy lettuce, and you had the mayonnaise, which could be thinned down with lemon juice and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, you had that sprinkling of cayenne on it. But people used to love that.
What, on a salad?
Yeah, you sat the egg, a halved egg, on the salad, and then you did what was supposed to be, nice homemade, probably like a hollandaise or something, not just mayonnaise, and then you sprinkled it.
I'm sorry, no.
I know, but you're not. You don't.
Mayonnaise and egg.
I know, but you.
It's the combo I can't get my head around. I don't like my eggs sort of mushed up. I don't touch my eggs.
So
anyway, what's your guilty
pleasure? Well, I could have gone for a couple, but I think I'm going to go and it's not bad really, but I love roasted cod.
Okay.
But if it's big, thick and chunky, so it's roasted, it just when you touch it flakes, but it's still sort of not quite translucent inside. And you know what's lovely with that? A little bit of homemade pea puree.
Yummy. Yeah, I agree.
I think that, to me...
But again, I think it's about, like, a lot of the things we talk about is I think yes, things can be very complicated, and certain things are, like the savarin. There's obviously stages because it's approved, dough. It's not just a normal cake dough or bread dough. But I think if something's done well, like your cod and pea puree or prawn cocktail, for example, I think they're delicious in themselves. They don't need loads of, stuff to go with it.
No.
Anyway, talking of deliciousness, would you like to try a wine that I bought?
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought might remind us that there might be some rustling.
Oh, yeah, rustling. Yeah, let's try some wine. Oh, Charlie, I also wanted to say, on our last podcast, we were talking about Scotch eggs. We did a Scotch egg tasting, or you did. You found another one, didn't you liked?
Well, we actually... Sorry, I'm coming back into the room, opening some wine. Here we go.
Tiny bit. Cool. Oh, that looks nice. That's a nice colour.
Yeah, so it's a white wine and it's hopefully going to remind you.
Oh, it's really fresh and lemony.
Yeah. Oh, there's a slight herbiness to the aroma.
Yeah, a little bit of green. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's got a goat on the front, or a ram, I think. Anyway, Attenborough. I'm never sure how to pronounce it. Apologies.
It's all Greek to me.
But it's a Greek wine, so I thought it would remind us of our trip in October that we had.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so I thought it'd be quite nice with our nibbles.
That's very nice.
Where were you? What were we talking about?
Oh, yes, the Scotch egg.
Scotch eggs. So we obviously were out and about yesterday, sort of a bit of birthday stuff still. And we grabbed a coffee and then we said, should we do a bit of an impromptu picnic? And we popped into a shop and...
actually, can we just say we've popped into wonderful little village stores, didn't we? In a place called South Harting. And it was absolutely delightful because they had all this lovely local stuff. Didn't they? Yeah. Homemade sandwiches, homemade breads, all these sort of things, meats and stuff. It was absolutely lovely.
And so we popped into there and they had Scotch eggs in there.
Which you spotted.
Which I spotted, my guilty pleasure that keeps coming back to me now to haunt me. It was a pork and apple Scotch egg. And yeah, we bought that in a sandwich and bits and bobs. And we had that and it was absolutely delicious. And I have to say, if we'd had that...
Yeah, it would have won.
It would have won, hands down. There was a thick layer of pork. The outside was good, and the egg was a good size and a lovely, that creamy yellow.
And where did it come from, Charlie? Give them a shout.
Nellie's Farm.
And it is West Sussex, isn't it?
Yeah, and they produce lots of other things. There's not just Scotch eggs. They do sort of pasties, pies, quiches, bargies, sausage rolls. So they do lots of different things. Very high welfare standards, obviously, for their food and stuff. So, yeah, big shout.
Oh, it's organic, wasn't it?
I don't know if it's organic.
Or was it on the... I thought it was said on the label, but maybe I've got that wrong.
No, I'm not sure if it's organic. I think they do some organic, but it's definitely
free range.
Very high welfare standards for the animals.
Anyway, big shout to Nellie's.
Yeah, and it was absolutely delicious.
You gave it the thumbs up.
That would have won. Unfortunately, they're definitely the... It's a shame, but I would go back for Nellie's sausage roll. Scotch egg even. But yeah, I think it was just, it was a very good one. So again, if you can do something well, that's simple, I think it's just...
I think we've got yet to try the Fortnum's one.
Oh yes,
next time. I forgot actually when I was in London last week. At the next time,
so
get you one of those.
The other thing I was just going to touch on actually with the sort of herb side of things was actually sort of the dried versus fresh.
Oh, yes.
So it's just quite interesting that some herbs, like we said about tarragon, obviously it's delicious fresh, but it's also very good as a dried herb.
Yeah.
And I think dill is actually, in my experience, almost more pungent.
Yes, I think that can happen.
Dried. So I would say, obviously, with certain things, it's obviously very important to use a fresh herb, but in others, like sometimes with curries and things, especially, dried herbs are equally as good and full of flavour. So it's not a...
Yeah. Well, I still want to do or just mention again, and I think I have before, but honest to goodness, a fresh bay leaf.
Oh, yes.
Fried off, all right, in the pan when you've only got a little bit of oil, and, you might throw in your cardamom pods. It doesn't matter what you're doing, or maybe it's just a chili or a bit of garlic, because it could be any kind of cuisine. But do you know what? I can't. The subtleness that gives a little bit of flavour. 1 or 2 fresh bay leaves. Just try it. Honestly, and the smell of it when it hits.
Well,
they do spit a bit because they've got the water in them.
It's a bit like crispy sage leaves. They're becoming, I mean, and they were obviously initially, it's very popular, but they're becoming like a thing here. I've noticed that you go out and it'd be like crispy sage leaves and stuff. But it's a delicious. Sage, I think, is another herb, which we can talk about another time, maybe, which I think is equally nice, dried. And actually, funny enough, they use quite a lot in Greek food, dried sage.
Yeah, I think sometimes
earthiness.
In this country, things like sage and bay leaves, they are really synonymous with popping in a casserole or something. Do you know what I mean?
Or like a stuffing.
Yeah, but I think what I'm learning is actually cook them from fresh. Let them flavour the oils before you put the food in. I think that's the trick. And like I've mentioned before, when you've got little chilies, throw the chilies in whole. Don't even bother chopping them up, because if you cook them, say with the bay leaf, all that flavour's already there. Then you leave them in, obviously, and then you just make sure when you serve the food, you're not serving people, a big bay leaf or a whole chilli. But, little ones.
That reminds me of
lovely
cranberry relish. You have to pick out the cloves. It drives me mad. Drives me potty. There's always 1 or 2 cloves that you just cannot get hold of. You don't know where they are.
Do you not stud them into the orange first?
No, because the cloves go into the cranberries. This is the relish.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a nightmare because you're trying to hoof them out, and then there's always one that seems to have escaped and is in the relish.
But there's always something like that, because sometimes if you use like whole, I know you're supposed to take the leaves off, but bits of rosemary or thyme, you have to take the stringy, twiggy bits out. But there you are. That's part of, you've used the real herb. Yeah. How lovely is that? You've got the.
But I think, but I think in other countries they're more used to finding sort of herbs and bits in there. We're a bit more fussy, unfortunately. But it all adds to the flavour, which is what's important. So, let us know what your favourite herb is, and maybe we can discuss it.
Yeah, or what other things you've used dill in, or whatever. Yeah,
anything we've covered: Scotch eggs, dill, farm shops, anything. Send us a note. We're at Relish Lifestyle on Instagram and TikTok. We will be posting some photos of our meal today and the savarins. But we do have to sort of wrap up to catch the old lionesses.
I was going to say the lionesses.
But this wine's good.
It's very nice.
I'm enjoying it.
It's,
probably a bit too Welsh, actually. But, but yeah, so thank you for listening. Subscribe and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And that only leaves us to say, I think we can do a cheers.
Yeah, we can do a cheers.
Cheers.
It's the lionesses, and keep relishing life.